The big buzzword is software defined, and that was present here at HP Discovery in Las Vegas. I've got Neil Miles who's joining me. I jumped right in and took the bait and talked software defined network, software defined storage, software defined data center, and Neil says, I'm using it the wrong way.
The issue is that, Andy, is that software defined is a new technology, a new team, a new term, within the organization, within IT, but it's being used, many of the terms, software defined infrastructure, software defined storage, software defined networking, software defined enterprise, software defined data center. They're all being used interchangeably, often in different ways. The key thing is, what does software defined do for you? And what it actually is about is enabling software-defined control, so programmatic control of your infrastructure as we move forward.
Well, but more than that, it seems that it's really about business agility and being able to respond through the technology.
Yes, that's the why, and that's the important part. People are all getting excited about the technology itself. The issue is, why are we doing this? And we're adding one more layer of software. Is that beneficial? Maybe not. So let's take a look at it. And the why is about, as you said, business agility. What HP is talking about is moving at business speed, because IT teams around the world are working as hard as they can, but they're still not caught up, and it's getting worse. Okay, so the opportunity is, how do I help make a step function in the execution capability of IT? And that's by bringing a new layer and a new capability for automation, orchestration, and control.
Well, we were talking a little bit earlier about this discussion is going on within the industry, within Gartner Group and so forth. What makes HP able to capture and encapsulate this software-defined vision?
Okay, one thing is, HP is involved in every single facet of this conversation. We don't just work with virtualization, we don't work with just servers, just storage, just networking, just management software or monitoring software on top. We would deal with that entire space. We're the only company that deals with that entire space, including security. So most people are saying software defined is only about compute, storage, and networking. We go, hold the bus. What about security? We've got new capabilities there. What about power and cooling and facilities? All important. Plus, what about the application part of the software defined? We can't ignore the fact that you've got to change some of the approach to your application writing and enactment to make this happen.
Right. Well, and also I think a number of other conversations I've had, HP is very conscious of the fact that you have to have the skill set to be able to function in this environment, and providing tools there and processes and programs is just as important as the technology.
In fact, the technology side of this isn't that bad. In fact, it's about enabling a new layer of software. And we've been doing that for years. The issue is, it's providing a fundamental shakeup in driving how IT organizations are in fact organized and how they actually do their job, how the people are measured. Even our HP IT people are so good at saying, gee, I do servers, or I do storage, or I do networking. They've turned to me and said, we have to now, for all the new projects, we have to cut across those ruts. We have to do all of this. And that's what the whole value for software defined is. How do I get the teams to work across silos and then use this, what we call the vision from HP is very simple. I have to cut across those silos, but how am I going to do that? We call it 3, 2, 1. 3, I got 3 different types of control. I've got to help the IT admin, I want to help from a programmatic standpoint, and I also want to help the cloud. Okay, and that cloud is the line of business control. Software defined means I'm turning on application control. And I want the IT admin control to be more effective so people can go home. They can get a life. Because there's 2 priorities, right? Be a hero, get a life. And you may choose one, but we want both of those available to the IT staff members.
Well, because the internal customers that you have, every evening they go home and they stop by and they say, I had such wonderful IT service today. Thank you very much.
You know, it's very funny. I run sound sometimes for singers, and I describe it as infinite potential for negative visibility. Because when the singer does a great job, everyone applauds the singer.
Yeah.
And then when something goes wrong, they turn to the back and say, what are you doing? Okay, it's negative visibility. IT is in some way that way. It's an It's a battle of perception. Are people perceiving IT is doing well? CIO Magazine says that up to a third of that budget right now is going outside of IT. IT has to be able to respond quickly enough to compete with external cloud vendors, but they're the only ones who understand the security, policy, compliance, and legislative constraints that their business actually runs on. Amazon doesn't. They provide a great service, but they don't understand the business constraints. Only the company's IT does. So we want to help them with this environment. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what are some of the specific HP offerings that help move in this direction?
Okay, so we start with software-defined networking. Why is that important? Because it's the fundamental, critical component that is not caught up yet. We can do software-defined servers and software-defined storage very quickly today.
So is networking kind of the low-hanging fruit because people are over-provisioning and as a way of being able to hit that peak traffic load?
Actually, the issue is in the management consoles on how to configure networking. Right now, that's still
It's command line based.
It's command line based, and I like to say the 80s calls and wants its user interface back. Okay, and the issue here is the fact that I've got a customer who told me they can provide a server in 5 minutes. They can provide storage in 5 minutes. Minimum 5 days to 6 weeks for networking. The point is, networking has not caught up. People are saying that software-defined networking is not ready. We've been doing it for 10 years. We have 50 switches, 10 routers, and all of our access points. All of our products are software-defined enabled, okay? And so what does that mean? It means you can turn that on and use that, and customers are generating networks within 5 minutes instead of 20 weeks, okay? So it really is an environment where 2 full weeks, another customer, 2 full weeks of man weeks for their one virtual network provisioning, 5 minutes with SDN, turning it off 7 minutes. The point is that's a value. Then I turn to storage. Storage is very, very important because that's where all your data is. Okay, that's the business value coming in. The real thing about software-defined storage is it's designed to be cost effective. So I have a blank spot in a rack somewhere, I present a drive in there, and I can software access that as part of a virtual array, okay? The issue is I don't know the response time of that drive, or how many network hops away it was, so I can't set a specific SLA for a business critical environment. I have to be programmatically accessing 2 different types. We call them software defined and service refined, okay? We use our VSA products for software defined storage and our 3PAR products for the service refined, because for some mission critical things, I need to know how long it takes that data to come back.
Right.
Virtualization and servers, well understood, but our newest areas are there, things like a moonshot capability and for software configured and its workload configured service, but also from a virtualization standpoint, we have the blade servers and converged systems to help drive that, getting you from 50 to 1,000 VMs in a pre-configured box.
So where do you think the industry is heading as far as developing a common vocabulary that's meaningful across vendors?
Well, that's happening at the control layer, and that's the next part. There's we see 3 types of control, as we said: IT admin control, programmatic control, or cloud control. Okay, and the issue here is the fact that the industry is going in a way that because they're realizing that I have to solve the silo problem once and for all, because I can't do things quickly to generate a new business application service, because it's not just the infrastructure; it is the application that has to run the business. Servers are defined by their application they run. Storage can be defined. Network is not there yet, and the management isn't there yet either.
Well, and they also may be leaving behind some value in a siloed operation because of the implications of the big data that could be gathered throughout all these elements in the organization.
Oh, and the data is critical, because as you run through all this environment, you're turning on an ability to programmatically or organizationally control what your infrastructure is doing. The last point is, how do I make this business, and you talked about business agility earlier, hit the nail on the head. The issue is, if I'm trying to move at business speed, I got to be aligned. And alignment says, otherwise I'm out of phase. If I take too long to get where the business is, it's not good, okay? And Gartner likes to talk about cloud. It's great to turn on burst, but when I have less need of IT that month, does IT charge me less?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need that business sensitivity. I generate that software defined because I have the ability to quickly turn on and off resources, but I have to
turn off the lights when you leave the room.
I know, but otherwise, but if you're only looking at the infrastructure itself, you're driving by looking in the rearview mirror. To look out the front, I got to understand what's happening from an application a service or a business process level. And HP has the software to do that. Finally, how do I address my IT team? The technology's easier. Changing my people's behavior is hard. I have to have consulting services that help my teams get through each one of these transitions: software-defined networking, software-defined storage, advanced infrastructure management, software-defined monitoring, whatever. The point here is the fact that we have all those services to help customers today, and it is a journey, not from a technology standpoint, but from an organizational standpoint, and the place we think they should start is with a transformation workshop that's defined specifically on software-defined data center and software-defined technology.
So is that what they should search for when they go to hp.com to search for the
transformation workshop?
Transformation workshop.
That's the best place to start. But one thing that customers also want to know is, what projects do I start? We want you to look at software-defined networking, because that is ready today. And some companies saying it's not. We absolutely have customers coming to us and saying, I cannot take this long to do my networks anymore.
Right.
I have to break that tradition, okay? Software-defined storage. I need cost-effective storage. You can start that with almost no cost from HP. We've got some offers on the table for 1 terabyte of software-defined storage for customers use if they buy our blades. It comes with it. Very, very cool. From a converged system standpoint, if you're already addressing the fact that I'm trying to build a system to run an application, not necessarily servers or storage or network, converged system is a great way to get there a month or two earlier.
Okay, so there are some great ideas for pilot projects that you could have as well. Neil, thanks very much for joining us here today, and thanks to you folks who've been following our coverage of HP Discover in Las Vegas.
Take care.
Live streaming of SDR news coverage at HP Discover has been made possible by Intel Corporation. Check out Intel OpenPort IT, where you can connect with your peers at Intel on industry topics, best practices, strategies, and more. And by Microsoft, where HP and Microsoft are working together, combining their respective strengths to deliver innovative technologies to help advance your business.